Welcome back to Razmafsar TV. I am really happy to be here. Today is a special day because a couple of days ago I reached solo training number 200. I started when the pandemic started last year at the end of March. And the reason I have 200 solo trainings and not over 365 is because in between, I also did yoga and did Razmafsar training and did weight training. So why these 200 and what did I do during these 200 days of training was that I trained karate Kyokushin, I trained Wing Chun forms, I trained Kobudo weapons, mainly bow and sai, and I also did Katori, Katori Shintoryo techniques of Iaijitsu, sword drawing in sitting and in standing positions. I mainly trained in Germany, and when we were allowed to go on in summer, when I went to visit my parents-in-law, I also did in north of France and also in south of France. You can see in solo training series. So they are in Germany, north of France and south of France, you can see, but mostly they are where I live here in Frankfurt. The title of this video is to believe in yourself. Why? Because many of you know that I had a severe back injury 11 years ago or 11, 12 years ago, that bad that I could no longer do spinning wheel kicks. I could no longer do hammer kicks, axe kicks. High kicks were also very painful. Let me just tell you what happened to my back. My back was that I had two herniated discs, one of them very bad, also degenerated, that back then many surgeons advised me back then that, they told me that I needed a surgery. The decision was really, really a hard decision for me. The decision was, I'm going to mention to you what happened to me 12 years ago, 11, 12 years ago, was that bad. It had started earlier. Remember my book's Arms and Armor from Iran, which weighs approximately 5 kilos. When I lifted it, I had so much pain that I had to put it down. That bad. When I sneezed, I had tremendous pain in my back, and I really had, back then I was really, anytime I wanted to sneeze, I was really scared. Let's put it this way. And this was my back. I went to different surgeons and there were different surgeries, and it started like I could have had, first of all, fusion, which I didn't want it because then I was afraid not to be able to do many martial arts, specifically kicking and striking. And other ones were just to have a surgery on to look at what was going on in my discs, these two discs, to remove partially some of them, but then because one of them was badly injured and degenerated due to too much martial arts or whatever, training or strikes or throws in wrestling. So, and then until I found a surgeon back then who said that he could replace my true discs with artificial discs. As far as I know, in the United States, the surgery is no longer done. And back then, of course, in Germany. But, and the surgeon back then even showed me professional parachute jumpers and also an Olympic team member back then in Germany, a female who had this surgery done and was successfully doing it. But my whole statement was, this is martial arts. I'm going to be thrown. I'm going to be kicked, punched, and I don't think I could do that. So then my journey of pain started. Years and years I did yoga. I discovered yoga and pilates. Discovered yoga and pilates in the sense that I could hardly do any training, and they just do some light let's say combination of boxing in the air, like shadow boxing, was almost impossible. For 2 years, I did intensive yoga and pilates every day. I had, let's say, therapy, physiotherapy, almost 3-4 times a week. I went through pain, and then a couple of years later, so I couldn't kick. And those of you who know that I was an active kickboxer, Kyokushin fighter, and back then people know also in competition specific in kickboxing that I was famed as a very good kicker. I could kick in very close distance. So what I did, I started to practice Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because on the ground, then it was much better for my back. 2008, I started with BJJ. I had also, as you know, wrestling background. BJJ, I was in Allianz team, and sadly, my trainer back then had no understanding, or I mean, he didn't even ask. I could not keep anyone in my guard. I could not close the legs. And those of you who know grappling and know BJJ know what it means. Basically, and wrestling helped me to have a top game all the time, to put pressure. But then again, you're a very one-sided Brazilian Jiu-Jitsuka. Of course, if you have in MMA, it helps you. I mean, nowadays we know it in MMA. Going down, being on your back, they surely knock you out. Those days are gone. But that was not the main thing. I was looking for an alternative because Greco-Roman was out of question. I couldn't do that. Even freestyle, which was possibly a bit doable, was not that good. So what I did, I discovered that and did it a couple of years, top game. And because of wrestling, and I did it as a kid, had started as a kid, could hold my ground against very experienced BJJ. And then I remember in Allianz, everyone said, oh, you're so powerful, you have so much strength. But no one really was interested, including my instructor. Why couldn't I close my guard? I could not close the guard. Can you imagine? I kept training for years and years. All those endurance fights I did, if you look at that, I can only do a bit of low kick, also not very strong, or a front kick, and me as a kicker, right? And many throws were difficult for me, and I did it. And I remember when Sergei Gorbatko did my first armor, which is almost over 30 kilos, that Safavid armor, this blackish armor. I mean, Sergei is a very good armor and a friend of mine. I told Sergei, if I carry that, I can handle that, but the problem is not for so long. What should I do when I want to fight in it? And Sergei told me, Manucher, tell your students, you put everything on, not everything besides chara in it. You put everything else and chara in a helmet, not. Lay on the ground, and when the fight started, get up, they put it fast and go and fight. When the fight is over, they take off, and then you start laying on the ground again. You can imagine how much my heart was in martial arts, in Razmavsar. I remember when I was in Iran, wanted to get on a horse. I could not go on a horse because of my back. I could not basically bring my leg up. I never lost hope. I didn't want to have a surgery on my back. Pilates, yoga, Until a couple of years ago, I had another problem. My back started to recover a bit here and there, got better and better and better. And a couple of years ago, like 4 years ago, I think it was, I had a almost complete 95% PCL tear in my right knee. For 1 year, I could not walk. You remember those days, right? I was walking in a jack brace, and it was really hard for me. And then again, I needed a surgery or not. But then you said ACL doesn't heal, but PCL does. I could not believe. Went to 4 or 5 surgeons, and they all said the same thing: just close it and do it. So again, Pilates, yoga. Took 1 year to put my leg back. During all these years, I rediscovered for endurance, which I couldn't do, swimming. I was an average swimmer, but then I got 2 coaches. And for 2 years, I paid them to learn to swim professionally. They taught me for 2 years how to swim, crawl in a very efficient way, how to swim. I already knew, of course, breast, but improved my breaststroke. They taught me back crawl with freestyle, then back crawl, and then also learned butterfly. Now the result is I can swim 10 to 12 kilometers in open water ocean, but I could not do jogging. Please remember, jogging and running, before my back happened, I could go for half a marathon, no problem. And I did very often. I could go even more, but I didn't. When the pandemic started, the fear was always in me. I could not risk running, so I did not run. You see that there is a lake behind me when I do all this training. This lake is almost 2 kilometers away from where I live. I remember the first day I went there with my kids. They were on their bikes. I dared to run. I had 2 problems. First, my back, which always hurt after running. I couldn't feel parts of my leg. And then my knee was the next one, because my knee was still healed, but I didn't know if I could take running. The first time when I started to run at the end of March last year, I remember I had a wobbly knee. I was afraid. My back, but I kept going. First day, and it worked. I did all the katas. You see that this was after, the pandemic started almost 9 months after I passed my second dan in black belt in Kyokushin. So you see that I always do 39 katas of Kyokushin, 3 are bow katas. So 36 plus 3. I do 3 Wing Chun forms, all 3. From Siunim Tao, Chum Kyo, and also BG. I also do these so-called butterfly knives of swords of Wing Chun. And also the Katori. And every day I ran there, trained 1, 2, 3 hours sometimes, and then ran back every day. Today I can run again. Can you believe this? I can run as much as I want. And more importantly, I can kick. My kicks are back. I can do spinning wheel kick. I can do hammer kick. I can do axe kick. Things I could do. I had bent back, jumping back kick. You saw that I do jumping back kick against the railing, steel railing, and I can move it. This was one of my most powerful kicks I had. All these years in armored fighting, all these years in endurance fights, I could do none of them due to my back. During all those endurance fights, one of my only concerns was my back. Would my back help me, let me go through? After each endurance fight, parts of my legs, I couldn't feel them. But now, after these solo trainings, somehow something like magic happened. Of course, the foundation was yoga and pilates, which I had done for years before that. But this 1 year, the katas of Kyokushin, the forms of Wing Chun, the katas and the combinations of Katori, and the boxing combination, Muay Thai combination, kickboxing combinations, somehow like magic helped me. The katas, I started to improve myself in each solo training, 1 inch here, 1 inch there. The hand should be there, self-correction mechanism. You see, early in the morning, sometimes I did it midnight, sometimes I did it at the sunset. I trained when it was almost 12 degrees Celsius minus. I trained on the frozen lake and I did my kicks, although the danger of falling was really big, huge. I trained when the sun was rising in the middle in Provence, south of France. I trained, you see that in solo training when it is hailing, big ones. Ice pieces. I trained when it was raining. All the time you see me training. Rain, hail, minus, on ice, under the sun, hot, cold, kept doing the katas. And I realized one thing, when it was getting hot under the sun, remembering katas got more difficult. When it was cold, it was easier. When it was hailing, the concentration changed. When it was raining, it had a different effect on my body than on different ground. You hear these sounds like on the asphalt, sometimes it's on the sand, and I do sometimes real directly in water. They affected my kata performance. And I realized one thing. I was becoming one with nature. The effect on nature of my body. Carr and the other members know that. There are many birds there. In the beginning, they escaped when I went to train. Now the swans come close to me. The ducks come close to me. The geese come close to me. And also other birds, they don't fear me anymore. I'm almost every day there. When I'm not doing yoga and weight training and so. Then I realized another thing. Because we always say, are katas useful or not? And I always believed in katas. Then I saw the katas are improving my boxing, my Muay Thai, and my Kyokushin combinations, fighting combinations. My guard was getting tighter. And more importantly, the katas gave me my back to me. They gave me my knee. They healed my back. They healed my knee. They gave me back my kicks and my kicking capability, which even in yoga and in pilates, I could not get it back. I saw my kicks were getting higher and higher, higher and higher. Spinning wheel kick, spinning back kick, hammer kick, axe kick, high roundhouse kick, shin kick to the head, jumping knee. I remember even in katas, some katas in karate and Kyokushin, or in other katas, but okay, I do Kyokushin. You jump, like in Pinan Sono Go. I was afraid of that, of a simple jump in the air and falling on the ground. I remember in the beginning, I was afraid of Gario, reclining dragon, where you jump and go down. I was afraid of that. Can you imagine? I was afraid of Kanku sky watching jump, which you have a very strong jump and go down. Then I started to train in steel armor, doing boxing, Muay Thai, Kyokushin combos in steel armor. As you saw, I did katas in steel armor, with bazoo band, with armor, with also sarg band, is steel protection here on my legs, on my body, did all the katas with no difference. Before that, I did resistant bands. They're really tough, up to 50 pounds for each limb. And I did resistant bands. First started one here, on my legs. Then I increased the resistance bands, 2 for each limb. I still could do it. If you look at these solo trainings and the way my body improved, didn't affect my speed. Still the same, didn't affect my katas. So if you ask me what I learned from this experience, the first thing, believe in yourself. The body has a self-healing mechanism. I could never believe in that. But self-healing mechanism only works if you really believe in it and you are willing to take your time and do physical activity. That's the first thing I learned. The second thing I learned, when you train outside, there is no dojo experience which could replace it. You do your kata combination on asphalt, on the sand, in water, or in any other, surface, on the ice. It affects your body and your feet start to regulate. That's the second thing I learned. The nature, so it's the surface. The third thing I learned, what comes up from the heaven, be it it's hailing, be it it's raining, be it it's cold, be it it's -12, be it whatever it is, the sun is shining, be it's hot, be you're knee deep in water in an ocean or sea, nothing can affect you, because you are going through Kanko sky watching, because you are going through Sushi Hall 54 steps, because you believe in yourself, because you believe in your capabilities, and your body regulates that, your mind regulates that. The fourth thing I learned, doing all these karate Kyokushin katas, Katori katas and forms combinations, and Wing Chun takes me almost 1 hour, over 1 hour and 20 minutes, all of them together, which 1 hour and 20 minutes only katas. I'm not talking about combination of boxing and Muay Thai, Kyokushin, which I do. Only Kyokushin katas, Wing Chun forms, Katori katas and forms. Over 1 hour and 20 minutes you need to remember. And then all of a sudden, I realized the magic what this training does for my brain. It is a constant training. You know that I'm a researcher. You know that I teach at university. You know that I write many books. But you know that I teach at master level as a professor at university. This is even more than that. Because your brain needs to be in sync, synchronized with your arms, hands, legs, feet, body, and remember all these things. 1 inch of mistake, this is karate, this is kung fu, Wing Chun. 1 inch you need to self-correct when next time you watch. And then I realized, as I mentioned it to you, this is the best training for the mind. And I know we have been in pandemic, but for 1 year, I have not been sick at all, nothing. So it's like a self-healing mechanism at all levels. Now I'm back, and what else did I learn? I got close to birds and animals. They're not my friends. Got close to nature, to the nature. Breathing exercise, oxygen, everything is different. This 1 year was the best year of training in my life. I started at the age of 5 doing martial arts, different martial arts. As you know, I have different black belts, 3 black belts. But today I'm telling you one thing. As I'm preparing for my 4th black belt in another style, an instructor level in another style, I learned one thing. Real martial arts, you can mostly learn when you're alone. Katas have a big value because they really teach you how to fight if you know what you're doing. And above all, they heal your body. The angle, your movements. You get stronger. Now I understand what Oyama said. Soke Oyama. Kata and kumite are 2 parts of the fighting system, which you cannot neglect, like 2 wheels. Another one is Kihon, of course, but these 2. And another thing I learned during this time was believe in yourself, believe in self-healing power of your body. At the end, I would really like to stress and to ask all our members, supporters, friends, fans of Razmafzar who watch this channel to believe in yourself, to keep training during this hard time. My job on this channel, my people's job on this channel was to bring hope during these hard times, that no matter what, we keep training, no matter what, we do not lose our heart. And now I mention one thing again at the end. I am in the best shape of my life. Now, if I fight, I'm not only going to use Razmafzar techniques to say this is historical or not historical. When I fight, I'm going to use all my kicks, hammer kick, axe kick, be it in armored fight, unarmored fight, back kick. I no longer will separate, okay, this is going to be only grappling or non-grappling. An MMA fight, and with integration of weapons. That's what we are going. If something works, I'm going to teach my students. For example, all kicks of Kyokushin, the defense line of Wing Chun, which I'm going to pass my instructor level soon, boxing techniques, Muay Thai techniques, wrestling techniques, BJJ techniques, everything works, we are going to integrate. And we have also our weapons. That's what we are going to have the approach in Razm Afzar. This is a martial arts organization. And we will integrate everything. It works in our fighting system. But the purpose of this video was not to talk about fighting. The real fighting is the fighting you do against yourself. And that's what was the best value of this year. It healed my knee, healed my back. I had severe injury in both. And one more thing which I learned I was in continuous self-quest to improve myself. Better kick, better kata, better combination. Thank you very much for taking your time and believe in yourself. And have a nice day.